Hey guys!
Hey guys!
We're back this time reviewing the series premiere of OUTCAST titled A Darkness Surrounds Him. If you haven't seen it yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. If you're familiar with Robert Kirkman and The Walking Dead, he is the genius behind OUTCAST, and oh my god, the series premiere was absolutely amazing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was so good. And it stuck really, really closely to the first issue of the comic.
Yeah, it was basically beat for beat the comic translated to live action. And it got everything right. It got tonally, it was perfect. The casting did a great job casting this.
Great job on casting.
Every single character is just cast perfectly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the little boy who plays Joshua. Oh my gosh. He is the creepiest child actor ever, and he did phenomenal, and that kid's going places.
Yeah, especially being that young. Like, I got the feeling he was 10, 12 years old at the most.
Yeah.
And to be able to pull that off at that age is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Like we said, this basically goes beat for beat exactly from the comic, from the first issue of the comic. And if it goes one-to-one, you know, like one issue of the comic to one episode of the show, I think that would be perfect, because there's only, I think, 17 issues into the comic.
Yeah, the comic's still pretty new.
Yeah, the comic is still really new. So if they go, you know, one episode of the show to two episodes of the comic, you do run the risk of catching up in a couple of seasons.
Very quickly.
Yeah. In a couple of seasons. Kind of like what happened with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But if it goes directly one-to-one, the comic should stay slightly ahead of the show.
Yes.
From the opening credits all the way through the episode, it was absolutely perfectly done. This might be, in my opinion, the best comic book adaptation from the book to the screen. Just, you know, from one comic book to one episode of a show. It was so perfect. Oh my, I can't harp on that enough. It was so good.
Yeah.
If it continues to follow the comic book this closely, look for some majorly shocking reveals coming very, very soon.
Yes.
I don't want to go into those because if you're not reading the comic book, I don't want to spoil the show for you. But, we're going to get a lot of really interesting plot twists and information and people being possessed and Kyle having to exorcise them. And we're going to learn a lot more about Kyle and a lot more about the possession. And we're going to get a lot more information on the Great Merge. So in this episode, what would you say was your favorite part?
Basically, Joshua's entire story. Yeah. But if I had to choose like one part of Joshua's story, it's right in the beginning, him slamming his head into the wall to kill a roach. Oh my gosh!
I think mine is a tie between that and the scene where Kyle is exorcising him and he starts to levitate.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too.
And Kyle's like, BAM! and he goes back down. And then when Kyle figures out that his blood is really kind of the key, and he starts squeezing the blood into Joshua's mouth.
Yeah. Now we will eventually learn a lot more about what's harming them. Right now they don't really know. They know that they don't like light, and his blood harms them.
And his touch does, like, his, you know, he was punching his, like, just through dialogue we found that him punching his mom hurt her more than it should. So his mere touch does harm to these people.
And his tears, apparently, because when his mom was dragging him into the pantry, he was crying and it hit her hand, and you heard the little sizzling sound, and she, like, freaked out after that. And the graphics for this were pretty fantastic. Like, when Joshua was on Kyle and was sucking whatever out of him, and then when he was unpossessed and it all shot up to the ceiling and pulled down
like
and then
the tar
disappeared.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah, like it was really, really good, because when you're reading the comic, you develop the mental image of this. They're not doing much, but they translated that to screen very, very well. It was amazing.
And when he vomited that tar substance, and then it kind of came down, and it took like a quasi-humanoid form for just a moment.
Yeah, and then like exploded outward and dissipated into smoke. Oh, it was brilliant.
It was really, really good. And then just like the practical stuff that they did with just the makeup and the blood
Yeah,
effects.
yeah.
Doing that, pulling that off on a child and not coming across as just cringy is a challenge.
Yeah.
And they really executed that pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, even as simple as the forehead smash into the wall, and then when he's eating his finger,
Yeah.
they did really, really great on the effects
Yeah.
of the show.
We pretty much know where the story is going to go, and especially if it keeps so closely to the comics. Because unlike The Walking Dead, I don't feel like there's a ton of room for the story to differentiate from the comic to the show.
Yeah, I don't see it as of right now either. So if they do differentiate, I hope it's in a way similar to The Walking Dead, where it's still good. Like Kirkman has said, he sometimes had different visions on how the plot was going to go, and he chose one for the comics and then decided to do a different one with the show. So if he's doing something like that, then I'm okay, because that works for The Walking Dead. But I totally wouldn't mind if it was like exactly the same as the comics, because the comics are phenomenal, and it's just, it's not the same watching it as it is reading it. It's the same exact story, but it's totally different experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you, I would be fine if he did decide to change it up a little bit. Just the way the story's going in the comics, I don't know how much room for change there is. In The Walking Dead, there's tons of room for change.
Yeah.
In OUTCAST, I feel like the story he's telling is pretty much perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
And I would prefer to see a direct comic to TV adaptation. But if he does have alternate ideas, I am totally open to that.
Yeah.
But seriously, if you're not reading OUTCAST, you should definitely read it. Pick up the first trade. I highly recommend it. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's it for this review. If you caught something that we missed, let us know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this review, and we really hope you did, be sure to tell us by dropping a like on it and subscribe for more reviews.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.